do you have any regrets on not appealing, not trying to go through? And I'm not sure if that was a choice you guys would have had anyway to go through the independent process. But I felt like, Mike, what the hell is going on here? Everybody involved with the federal investigation all should be going through the same process. Why are you going through the committee of infractions and most of the other ones are going to end up going through the independent process? It's not logical to me.
Well, there are a couple schools who were implicated in this that haven't even received a notice of allegations yet.
Right. That's right.
Somehow. I mean, talk about process. How is this stuff happening? And so it just kind of makes you wonder, like, what's the end goal here? And how, what we did was we just thought, when we looked at the information they presented to us, there really wasn't anything to fight.
Right. You admitted to what happened.
Because what they say in their report that we're supposed to be responsible for is what was played out in federal court.
Sure.
But it really wasn't anything because there was no overt scheme involving multiple people in our program. There wasn't a bunch of guys who were recruited here and received money. We didn't play a bunch of guys who weren't eligible, in defiance of. So we cooperated with the process and we gave the information. In fact, I flew to Georgia in February during the season this year to be present at the hearing. Missed the practice, almost missed the game, trying to get back to be cooperative with them. And the way they have treated us, and almost kind of in a smug way, stated that they went light. Yeah. That was probably the most surprising thing to hear in their press conferences. This could have been worse. And I'm thinking to myself,
how much worse?
How? I can't think of anything worse. And then you add on the timing of it all, right? So there are 13 guys who I've committed scholarships to right now, none of which are on my campus because of the global pandemic. All the returners were asked to leave. None of my incoming guys have gotten here yet. And then they add the part where any player on my roster can leave without any penalty.
Right. How are you smiling right now? That's what I want to know.
I could have 13 guys, Jeff, I could have 13 guys call me today and say, Coach, with all the noise, I just don't want to be a part of it. I could have a kid call me today and say, you know what, I think I should just go to another school in your league. I can't fight it. Can't do anything. And then on top of that, we're also in a recruiting debt period. So I don't even have the ability, if that happened, to go out and try to field a team.
Right.
It's almost like, I wonder if that was a part of their thought process is let's make this as crippling as possible so that, and again, we've got the lowest amount of bad stuff in our program of all these kids. So I'm just curious as to what they were thinking when they decided, because they haven't given themselves a whole lot of upside either.
What do you mean?
In terms of penalty, there's only, so they fell on this. There's a matrix that they've got to look at to decide where the penalties go. Well, we got 1 year. The maximum is 4. Right. Max, the most you can get. Now, I'm not saying that that's not more harsh than 1.
Sure.
But I think that what we have in our case is going to look a lot different than what you see play out in some of the other cases. And so
you don't, Mike, you really, I've had this, somebody asked me this. Somebody said, hey, listen, just watch here. Nobody else is going to get a postseason ban. I said, listen, I'll bet you 10 dinners on that. Somebody's got it. If you got a postseason ban, and I have said this to people, and I'll say it publicly, if you're the only one who gets a postseason ban, how much do we have to look at race as a part of it? Honestly, Mike, I don't think that's going to happen. I really believe all the other schools, or most of them, are going to get postseason bans out of this. But and we're speculating, obviously, if that happens. But man, if that happens, oh boy, that would be ridiculous, beyond ridiculous.
Yeah, I've thought about it all, Jeff. I'll be honest, when this first happened in September 2017, and there were only 4 people arrested, and they were all African Americans, it obviously makes you question, like, how did this happen? And then you watch this HBO special, and even more concerning. And I'm sure some of it was embellished for TV. All right, I'll grant you that. But the federal government created this thing. I mean, this wasn't something that was actually happening until they started it.
That's right. That's right. And guys went to jail. Like
and
that's the craziest part of this stuff. Guys went to jail.
Yeah, this doesn't work this way. If you want to do this, if you want to operate in this space, this isn't how you do it. And so, yeah, some of it is, I was the only black head coach of a school implicated, and we're up first, and we get the hammer thrown at us. So certainly, especially with the sensitivity of everything else going on in the country, right now, it's crossed my mind. I would hope to think that there are good people who work there. I know they're really smart people who worked really hard. I would hope that they would be able to look past that. But when I see that they've gone outside of the scope of the actual case that they're charged with overseeing, it certainly makes you wonder, like, what is the motivation?